24-hour reading challenge, and I'm so excited for it. So, hi, I'm Anna. If you are at all new to this channel, I have a different YouTube channel, but this is the dedicated bookish channel. And today is my favorite kind of video to watch and consume, in that I will be seeing how many books I can read in 24 hours. Now, unfortunately, I do have a couple of things going on, so I will not be doing 24 hours straight. I will definitely be sleeping, but I will be using a little timer method to actually read for 24 hours. And my goal right now, it is Monday. I'm about to head to work. We're not starting it quite yet. We're gonna start it when I get home from work. My goal is to have 24 hours of reading completed between now and Wednesday. So, tentative TBR. Maybe not that tentative, maybe this is just like is the TBR. I am currently barely into The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This I feel like is not a classic because it came out in like 2015, but like a modern day classic where people are like, oh, The Girl on the Train. Like, we know this book. And so I just felt like I needed to get back to the roots of thrillers, the 2015 roots of thrillers, and go ahead and read this book. So this will be what we're starting with, and we'll talk about it a little bit more once the actual reading begins. Following that book, and this is one that if it is long and slow, I might take like a break and do another book in between or something like that, but The Second Life of Marielle West by Amanda Skinadore. This book takes place in the 1920s, where our main character, I just looked at the back to see if I could tell the main character's name as if it's not literally in the title. This takes place in the 1920s, where the main character is a socialite in LA, seems like living her best life, but then she gets a diagnosis of leprosy, and she is exiled to rural Louisiana to a hospital that is specifically made for people with leprosy to be quarantined from the rest of society. This is a book that I got for $2 at Half Price Books because I was like, I have to read one Christmassy book this year. I really haven't read any so far. A couple like snowy ones, but no Christmassy ones. And so this is An Ivy Hill Christmas. I really don't even know what the plot is going to be, but I just like the cover looks like it's going to have to be some sort of like classic Christmassy snowy vibes. And he's wearing a little like long dress coat on the cover with a little top hat. So I don't know how high my hopes are for this one, but I am very interested. And for $2, it's gonna be a good story. After that, if I haven't run out of time yet, the goal is Finlay Donovan is Killing It. This book I wanted to read for forever. To my understanding, this book is about Finlay, who is a author, I'm pretty sure, and as she's in a coffee shop talking about her next idea for a book, which is kind of thrilling and involves murder and everything, someone overhears her and thinks that she's actually like a hitman, and I think tries to hire her to do that, is my understanding. I'm very excited for this one. It's also, from what I've heard, pretty fast-paced and funny, so I think this will be good if we start to get in any kind of slumpy mood to pick this one up. This one may be the one that I'm most excited for out of the entire TBR. And then lastly, if we get to it, Lavender House by Lev A.C. Rosen. Lev A.C. Rosen. The author is kind of covered up here. Which is another historical fiction. It says, when your existence is a crime, everything you do is criminal. Unfortunately, I have to go to work for 8 hours. But when I get home tonight, we will let the reading commence. We'll start the timer. There are a couple reading sprints that I want to attend, and so very excited to engage on this journey and squeeze a whole lot of reading into the next couple days. 24 hours to be exact.
We cross paths by mistake at the library, wrote down her name in the dust.
And as of right now, the stopwatch is at 1 hour and 35 minutes and 35 seconds. I'm currently on page 156 of The Girl on the Train, so I got about 100 pages further into it last night. So in this story, it's told from multiple points of view. Our main character is named Rachel, and she takes the train to London every single day, and there's a specific stop on the train that has a couple of houses that you can see from the window. And she watches a couple in their house just kind of every morning, seeing them drink coffee together, seeing them just hang out, be romantic, love each other, and she has this picture perfect couple that she's kind of imagined and put on them in her head. Until there's one day that Rachel sees the woman of that couple with another man, and they are smooching. So pretty obvious that something is going on that her husband does not know about, and then a couple days later that woman disappears. So the story is following figuring out what happened, figuring out if Rachel played a role in it, but as the story goes on you find some reasons that Rachel might not be the most reliable of a narrator, and also that she has some secrets from her past that may be influencing this current situation. I would say I'm enjoying it so far, especially kind of knowing that this is a book that I've heard the title of for so long, and so it's good to like finally actually know the story behind it. It definitely feels a little bit slow at this point, like I'm wishing I found out more sooner, but I also am still, like I'm definitely intrigued enough to continue reading the second half. So the plan today is to get as much reading in as absolutely possible. I'll start the stopwatch every time that I do.
Who would have thought that someone could awaken new emotions within us? Because of you, I'm out of the blue, so over the moon, that is true.
It is the coldest, dreariest day out right now, which is absolutely perfect for this challenge, but I just got back from my little coffee shop. I'm kind of curious how many weeks in a row I need to go to the same coffee shop before I become a regular, because this was week 3 that I went in a row. The first time of this little streak, I got a peppermint mocha. The second time, I got a candy cane matcha, and then this time I got what they called like their winter spice latte, and so it had like gingerbread. It wasn't my favorite because it was quite sweet, but it was still very good and holiday-y, and I had just a little wee bit of YouTube work I needed to do, but I also got reading in, and so we are currently at 2 hours and 31 minutes, and on page 228 of The Girl on the Train. So just under 100 pages left of this book. I wish that I were finding things out quicker in this book because we're spending so much time in the head of the main character, Rachel, who is not very likable and quite unreliable. So I get what the author is doing and she does it well. However, it's a slow trickle of information where it's like I'm reading things and kind of finding some stuff out, but there's a feeling of me that is left just wanting more. I did some math, some calculations to figure out like what speed I was reading this book at, and so how long it should theoretically take me to finish it. And if I keep reading at the same speed, it should be 1 hour and 20 minutes left of this book. So it's 10:34 right now. So the goal will be, what's that, 11:50 or so, which is perfect because then it's time for lunch and then to get going in another book. The stamina is still doing okay at this point, which is good because we're a 12th of the way into the 24 hours.
We're on a day, very first day, one step at a time. It's just how to say this love. Just let it drift, 'cause things might be.
Stop the timer real quick. We're at 3 hours and 43 minutes and we are done with book number 1. To be fair, book number 1 had been started before the timer had been started, but I read 267 pages. I should keep track of this. I'm gonna start a little notes. 267. And 1 book down. So, granted, I literally just finished it, so I don't know how good my final thoughts are going to be. I've really gotten in the habit of whenever I'm finishing books to go on like TikTok and read other people's reviews on Goodreads and like look up YouTube videos about the book, because whether or not I even liked the book, it's just fun to see other people's opinions and if they caught something or noticed something or cared about something that maybe like is different than what I noticed in my experience reading through the book. So I'm definitely going to do that. It ended up being fine. Like I said, I don't even know if I can call it slow necessarily because I got through it, obviously, but I don't feel just like so overly impressed with it. I think a big part of that is the fact that around 75% of the way through, I knew exactly how it was going to end, and that was exactly how it ended. And so that last quarter of reading was just reading it being like, okay, yeah, I know at this point. And there was like this big long villain speech, you know, and stuff like that, where I don't know what I thought it was going to be going into it, since it is such a big name book. So I do think I feel a little bit underimpressed with it, but it's not all a bad book. And it definitely at least was like influential enough that quite a few books have taken inspiration from it. And I don't know if it was like a trailblazer necessarily, but I feel good that I have finished it. As far as a rating goes, I'll put on the screen my rating system. This is the one that I've used for the past like few years because I definitely go down to quarter stars. And you can see starting with 0.5 star would be awful, going all the way up to like 5 stars is outstanding. I just think the words help me as I am picking. I think this one's going to be, I'm between 3 and 3.5, so it might be like a 3.25. I think it's going to be a 3.25 book, which is between above average and good, so definitely still like could be worth reading. 3 stars on Goodreads. I have finished it. Now I gotta go to Storygraph and tell them that I've finished it. Now it is time for a quick little lunch break before we get back to our one single activity of the day, which is reading. And I don't know which book I want to read next. Maybe we'll have to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it. We'll see after I eat. I got lunch right here, real quick. Just like garlic, oil, black pepper, and pasta. And I've got the stack of books here that are contenders to be our next book. You have heard about most of them, except I also threw in 2 wild cards just because, I don't know, need a little bit of spice in my life. The 2 that I threw in are The Most Precious of Cargoes, which is a teeny tiny little book. So honestly, it could be good to fit like in the middle of a different book. For example, Karen Slaughter Undone, bit of a thicker one right here. And I'm working my way through the Will Trent series collection, and this is the 3rd book in that collection. I told myself I was just gonna do 1 a month, and I've already done my December one, but I mean, if the powers of eeny, meeny, miny, moe tell me that now is the time to read it, then who am I to say no? Little Baby book has won. I think, so I don't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure this book is sad. It is 120 pages long, set during the height of World War II, a powerful and unsettling tale about a woodcutter and his wife who finds a mysterious parcel thrown from a passing train. I think, from reading like a Goodreads summary or something like that, I think the parcel is like a child. I don't know why I got this from the library even, but I'll start working my way through it. My goal is under 2 hours with this book. I feel like that's doable.
Let's not say there's no synergy. Honestly, we were good match, but no, we don't need a rush. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm sorry.
All right, I gotta move places from the couch or else you're gonna stare at me in the same location this entire video. But I just finished this book and I feel like I need to do some research to fully understand what I just read. It was 120 pages and now we are at 4 hours and 25 minutes. So that was about, what, 40 minutes? Definitely met my 2-hour goal. I believe the premise I told you is still accurate, but this is very much written as like a fairy tale, a fable. And the part that like felt confusing, but not like in a truly confused type of way, is that it is written so lighthearted, as if it were like a children's book, as if it were a little tale about like a mythical forest, and the characters aren't named like we keep hearing about, like the woodcutter and the woodcutter's wife, like that kind of thing. But then it is describing details of the Holocaust. So it's like there are very, very dark themes and very, very even like dark scenes that are written in a very, I don't know if lighthearted is the right word, but written with language and simplicity that feels fit for a child, even though the themes are not fit for a child, if that makes sense. So this was translated from French, and it looks like the author was born in 1939. I'm not sure when this book was first published, and I also have no idea what I'm going to rate and review it, so I think I'm gonna do some research just so I can like understand it better, and then we'll rate, review it, do the stats, pick the next book, everything like that. It was very quick read, very quick read. There's hardly, you can see there's hardly any text at all on the page, and then there's a lot of chapters as well.
And it's real, so we don't need a rush.
Okay, so I decided I'm gonna track this on my whiteboard. It has a lot of different things going on it. But so far, 2 books finished. That's what the little stars are for. And a total of 387 pages and a total of 4 hours and 25 minutes. Okay, to pick the next book that I'm gonna go with, I'm literally just gonna do a random number generator, 1 through 5. One's gonna be here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll see what it is. But then I figure once we pick out the next book, I'll make a little Instagram story for my little Bookstagram, which is the same name as this channel, just Anna B. Reads. And however long it takes me to get to that book will be the amount of time that people can vote, and I'll have people vote which one I should read next. All right, 1 to 5. 5. I'm excited for this one. Finlay Donovan is killing it. So hopefully I fly through them, we'll make my little Instagram story, and let people start voting while I start reading.
There's a few out of the blue, so over the moon, that is true. We're on it.
5 5 hours and 15 minutes into this little challenge, and I'm on page 62 of Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and I am loving it so far. It's just funny, and I would say relatable, except like I'm not a suburban mom with like sticky kids who drives a minivan, but if I were, I think it would be very relatable. I am starting to have trouble focusing, like my brain keeps drifting off places, and so I think that I am going to take a little break to like watch some booktube, clean up the kitchen, stuff like that. And since I'm doing the little timer method, I just won't turn the timer on in that time. But this was definitely a good book to continue with, and I am excited to keep on reading it. You wouldn't know it because I look exactly the same, but I did take like a 30-minute break and am just ready to get cracking again. It is 3:20 right now, and Zach and I actually just made the plan that we're gonna go out to dinner, which will be really fun and good and delicious, and I have never said no to a good tapa before, so I'm not going to start now. But that does also mean that there will be less reading hours today, so I want to continue on while I still can. Basically, at the point of the book that I'm in right now, I told you the premise already of how Finlay is a writer, and as she's describing like the plot of her new book coming up in a Panera, actually, specifically a Panera, someone overhears her, thinks that she's like a hit woman, and then tries to hire her. And at this point, Finlay is deciding like, is this actually something I want to get involved in? Because she's kind of curious, and she also is like, I mean, $50,000 would be really good for me at the moment, and how bad of a guy are we talking that this guy is? So it's a lot of just kind of like thinking, and with her funny personality, I feel like she's gonna accidentally get herself caught up in it somehow, and I'm just loving it so far.
Very first time, one step at a time. It's just gonna say it as love.
Hello, next day. Zach and I did go to dinner last night, so obviously that took away a little bit of the reading hours, but it was a really good dinner and a really fun dinner. And we got a free dessert because they came and asked us in the middle of the meal if we were willing to scoot over a table because they had like miscalculated a big party or something like that. And she was like, I'm so sorry to bother you with this, but we'll get you free dessert, anything you want. Like, and we were like, yeah, no problem. Like, we can scoot over. She was like, oh, I was prepared to have to convince you more. And then I was like, dang, like what else could we have gotten for free? But got just a little bit of reading in after we got home too. So I'm starting day 2 with 7 hours on the clock, which is a lot to read 7 hours in one day. But whenever our goal is to make it to 24, it's not even a third yet. So 7 hours, and I'm on page 204 of Finlay Donovan is Killing It. So I have what, like 150 more pages of this book. Still loving it, loving the mystery, loving Finlay, loving how she's accidentally getting herself involved with the mob. It very much reminds me of Good Girls, the show on Netflix. I don't know which one came first, but if you liked Good Girls, if you've watched Good Girls and you liked it, then you definitely like this book. And if you like this book, then I think you would definitely like Good Girls, because they're very similar in the suburban moms accidentally getting involved with the mob type plot. But I've got my coffee. There's a couple things that I have to like actually do today, so I'm hoping to still be able to get at least a lot of reading in. But I have like a laser hair appointment later today, and then I go to Half Price Books every time I have my laser hair appointment as a little reward afterwards. Specifically today, I want to look and see if they have Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, because that's my book club pick for next month, and there's so many holds on it at the library that I definitely won't get it by next month from the library. And so I'm gonna buy it, but hoping to buy it not full price. But if they don't have it at Half Price Books, I'll go to a little like small bookstore and get it. Maybe next week, maybe not, we'll see. We'll see. And then tomorrow at work is a little like Christmas party thing, and I signed up to bring stuffing. Never in my life before have I ever made stuffing, but today I'm gonna have to like go get the ingredients and make stuffing. It was the only thing left. Like, I got the paper last to sign things up. That's how I got stuffing. But going to get to reading over my coffee. I can probably get like at least 2 hours in before my appointment.
Just let it drift, 'cause things may sway, so let's not say that it's love.
Made it all the way to my laser appointment, and it was 2 minutes, like I was 2 minutes out. I was basically almost already in the parking lot, and I got a call that apparently a big water line burst in the like entire plaza that they're in, so everything is closed down. So all of that prep and getting out of bed and getting off the couch and everything for nothing. But I have another appointment next week they rescheduled me for, which is good. I figured I would still just stop by like Half Price Books, maybe Home Goods or something, just to make a trip out of it. But right before I left, I was like rushing to finish it. I did finish. Finlay Donovan is killing it. On the clock, we have 8 hours and 36 minutes. And this is the third book now that is done. And we're only 1/3 of the way through the challenge, so that's kind of crazy. I gave Finlay 5 stars. There was a second where I was considering, I was like, is it really a 5-star book? But I could not think of a single reason why it wouldn't be. I just really enjoyed it. It was a funny mystery, which is so fun. So it's not like, oh, so super dark and tense, but there definitely is still like elements of, you know, death, murder, that kind of thing, hiding bodies, but it's all funny and jokes and a fun time. So that was a 5-star. And I somehow have managed to stay off my Instagram story to not see what the poll is doing for what book I will read next. So this will be a surprise to me as we check. It is going to be Lavender House, which honestly was my guess because I think people are going to be intrigued by it. None of the books I picked are like big name anythings, you know. Lavender House is going to be next. After that, in the vote became Second Life of Muriel West, so I guess I'll just read that one afterwards. And then Undone by Karen Slaughter, and then An Ivy Hill Christmas. I guess people don't want me to have a festive, fun story time.
Very first time, one step at a time. It's too soon to say that's love. Because of you, I'm out of the blue.
I hope you enjoy my mom outfit. I was in suburbia, so I had to fit in. I mean, like, to the level that I drove by a Starbucks and they had a hired police officer directing the traffic around the Starbucks because I guess the drive-thru just must always be that full and that much of a problem that they need hired help. But before we get reading again, just want to do a quick little Half Price Books haul for ya, because I bought more than I came there for. Remember, I was going because I wanted to get Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Jillian McAllister, and I could not find it anywhere. I did find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 other books that I bought, and then as I was leaving, I saw there was a little corner right up front that was like new best-selling releases, and at that point I was embarrassed because I'd already checked out, so I was like, I can't go into that corner now that I've already bought my books. But I feel like the chances of Wrong Place, Wrong Time being in that corner up there were very, very high. So what I did get is honestly a lot of mass market paperbacks, which I love. We just don't make books like this the same anymore. 4 of the books that I got are Karen Slaughter books because I'm making my way through the Will Trent series. That's what this one is, number 3 in that, number 3? Yeah, number 3 in that series. And they even had this one there, but it was a huge, huge hardback, and so I didn't want to get it, and I also already have this one from the library. And so these fit somewhere in the series. This is like a little novella that goes in between some of the books. I think it's 5.5. This is number 9, and I know that because I already have number 10 that I got before knowing that it was like a series that I could work my way chronologically through. So I already own number 10. This is number 9. And then these, I think, are 5 and 6. I guess I could check this so I can actually tell you straight up. Final answer. I've read 1 and 2. Triptych, Fractured, Undone comes after that. And then there's one called Broken, and then this is number 5. And then there's a novella between 5 and 6, 5.5. And then this is number 6, and there's a 6.5, 7, 8. This is 8.5. This is 9. I own 10. So I was kind of right whenever I was telling you that. And they have them all at the library, so like the other ones I'll just get at the library. I just figured it's kind of fun to have like these copies of them because this is my favorite type of paperback to read. Broken spine and all. Love it. And then I also, this has been on my list forever. I kind of really hate this shade of green, but it is a perfect Elphaba shade of green, but it's the Wicked book. I don't know when I will make my way through this one. I feel like it's gonna be one where it's like I read like a chapter every once in a while or something like that. But it was literally $4, and it's another one of those small paper. We just don't make paperbacks like this anymore. And then the last one I'm very excited about because I'm gonna do a reading vlog whenever I finally get around to reading it. But I got ACOTAR. I've heard such great things, ridiculously great things. I don't know when I'll be reading it, but it was like one of the musts in 2023. That being said, I think I'm going to make lunch and then oh my goodness. I have never actually looked at this cover. So basically like what you can see right now, that's what I thought it was. Just like the silhouette of like some lavender wallpaper, and you can see like the face right there. There are bunnies, and there's dead bunny, and there's dripping blood bunny. That's spooky. This is our next read though. I'm gonna start it during lunch. I'm literally surrounded right now by like a graveyard of books. But I'll catch you with the next update from Lavender House.
Because of you, I'm out of the blue, so over the moon, that is true.
I apologize for the fact that you cannot see me. I really do, but it is the butt crack of dawn. It is 6:40, so I guess it's gotten a little bit later now. But I woke up at 4:45 this morning to take Zach to the airport, and then it wasn't worth like going back home and then coming to work. So I just came straight to work, but I'm here much earlier than I will actually be going in. So I figured I would get a little bit of reading in. As it currently stands right now, I'm a little bit behind in the 24 hours than what I hoped for. So if I ever do this as like an actual challenge, I would have to get a lot better at it because apparently I suck. I'm at 10 hours and 26 minutes, and this is what I started Monday, then Tuesday happened, then Wednesday happened, now we're on Thursday. So I guess this video is just going to go until I reach the 24 hours of reading. But I'm at 10 hours and 26 minutes, and I'm on page 124 of The Lavender House. Look, you can't really even see that either. I am loving it so far. So I feel like the synopsis, I didn't quite understand what this book was going to be. I felt like I was kind of going in blind. Like, even though I read the synopsis, I was just kind of confused. We have our main character, Andy, and this takes place somewhere in the like 1950s, 1960s. I think 1950s, because it keeps referencing back to like after the war, like after World War II. So 1950s, we're in San Francisco, and Andy is gay. And he was also a member of the San Francisco Police Department. And this is the time when the police do raids on gay bars, and the world is just very anti-queer. And so right in the beginning of the book, like this happens before we even meet him, just like a couple days before we even meet him, Andy is at a gay bar engaging in some activities in the bathroom whenever the police raid. So usually he's able to avoid the raids because he kind of like asks his friends, you know, like, oh, where are you going to hit tonight? Everything like that. So he's able to avoid it. But he is forcefully outed and then is let go from his job. He is kicked out of his apartment. People feel bamboozled by his sexual orientation, as if it's their personal problem. But I guess that was the time that it was in. So Andy's really not doing well. He feels like his life is over. He is actually at the point of wanting to no longer live. So he's sitting at a bar. He's getting really drunk during the day, and a woman approaches him. And she knows exactly who he is, like the fact that he was a detective on the police force, was let go because he was gay, and she offers to hire him as a private investigator because her wife just died. And he's like taken aback at the fact that she would just like plainly come out and say my wife. But he's kind of interested, and so he goes, and we enter this huge home in the middle of nowhere that has quite a few cast of characters. So we have Pearl, who's the one who hired him, and her wife was Irene, who was the head of this like big soap company. And Irene died about 2 weeks ago, and some members of the family think that it was just old age, it was natural, and Pearl is set on the fact that it was a murder. This house is made up of Pearl and Irene, Irene's son, his partner, the woman who poses as his wife for the public, her partner, and also some staff that are also openly queer in this house. And so Andy starts to do some digging around. This is very much a murder mystery and figuring out, you know, who done it. But he's also kind of juggling the fact that this home that now he's living in as he's doing the investigation is the first place that he's been able to just openly be himself. And he's feeling freeing in that. He's thinking, I should stay here forever. Like, this is a life that I would want to live. Whereas we know that previously he wasn't feeling that way about his life. But at the same time, he's investigating a murder, and the murderer is most likely one of the other people living in the house. So it's very Clue. It almost gives Westing game vibes of like just getting to know the characters, kind of starting to think like, okay, a couple people might have had motive, but who would have actually done it? And I'm loving it. Like I said, I think I was just confused by the synopsis, but I hope the little summary I just gave you helped to make more sense of why I would like it so much. So I'm going to get a little bit of reading in, honestly, probably just like 15, 20 minutes. And then I don't know yet how I'm going to do it, because sometimes I have the ability to read like at work, just during downtimes. I don't know. I might just do like a different book or something and not have it count towards 24 hours because, oh, if you don't know, I forget that this is my real channel. I work in a jail, so my phone does not get to come in with me, which means my stopwatch does not get to come in with me. We'll see. I'll decide how to do that. I don't really know at this point. But I'll catch you later when you can actually see me again. Now, I don't want to speak too preemptively, but we are at 11 hours and 7 minutes. I did not read it all at work today because we had a whole like Christmas party going on type deal. But I did, as you know, read before work in the car, and then I just read during my workout as well. So an hour and 7 minutes and 188 pages into this book. I am getting the 5-star ting tingles, like just the feelings that I like, the love that I have for these characters and the devotion that I have to the story. What scares me about that though is that this is rated under 4 stars on Goodreads, like it's in the 3s, which I really need to grow up about, because honestly lots of times if books aren't rated too well, I don't even give them a shot because I want to spend my time reading great books. And so it worries me that if I'm getting like the 5-star tingles for this one, but the rating is not really great on Goodreads, I don't know what the ending is going to be like. And I'm not going to read the reviews until I finish this book. My goal is to finish this book tonight, so hopefully, you know, curiosity doesn't kill the cat in this case. But that is something that I keep kind of thinking about. It's like, how am I loving this book so much and it's not rated well? But I'm actively working on growing up about that. Especially if this ends up being a 5-star, then I need to stop nixing books just because they're Goodreads rating. I hope my next update will be the one where I am done with the book.
Take me kitchen, take me flowing, take me queer and take me twisting, for I to believe in me and you somehow trust in me. Love, love, love is change.
I have 20 pages left in this book, and there is a way that I'm so worried that it is about to end. So I guess only time will tell.
Love, love, love is quiet.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not even done, but the thing happened.
To me.
I have finished. I think I'm landing on a 4.25. Like I said, I was getting the 5-star tingles, but I do think towards the end, it did not finish exactly how I thought it was going to finish. Like how I was so worried that it was going to finish, but it was kind of close, and I feel like one too many hints were dropped. Like towards the end, just like one too many little nuggets were given where it was kind of fun, where I was like, oh, I think I know where this is going, but then as you know, I was like a little bit wrong. I'm not going to tell you what happened because I think this is a not super popular book, and so I would so much rather you read it so you can figure out to know what I'm talking about. This definitely is a recommendation. Even though it's not 5 stars, it definitely is a recommendation. And the fact that I had like little to no expectation or really even like knowledge of it going in just kind of makes that all the more fun. But this is book number 4 that has now been finished in the 24-hour little, I think, readathon. Like that counts, right? Because we're reading for 24 hours, even though it apparently is taking place over like a month, maybe a week. Well, give me a week or something like that. A lot of the books have been kind of shorter, so that also plays into it. But we are at 12 hours and 12 minutes, which is over halfway. I think this vlog is what, like 30 minutes at this point, so that's kind of fun. I mean, I really enjoy watching long reading vlogs, and so I hope the first production of one that I have made is going to be good as well. Never would I have thought whenever I started this challenge that I would still be doing it on Friday night, but I haven't read since I last talked to you, or have I? Let's see. The stopwatch is at 12:12. I forget when I last talked to you. I started editing this video a little bit. We're just gonna keep it going until I reach 24 hours. So this is just gonna be a nice like reading vlog, and once we reach 24 hours of reading content, then it will cut off. That being said, I was going to read The Second Life of Muriel West next because that was what was just like coming next in the order that we've already talked about and everything. I'm just not in the mood for it. I'm honestly in kind of a bummy type mood, and so I just need something lighthearted and fun and that I'm looking forward to. So enter new book you haven't seen yet. I'm gonna read Heartstopper. I've heard such good things about this author and about all the different books, and it's a graphic novel, so I feel like that'll kind of be good to change up the reading experience too. I'm making some hot chocolate right now, but my self-care today is, instead of reading about 1920s leprosy, I'm going to read a sweet love story. Finished Heartstopper. It took about 20 minutes, so really not a long time at all. It is so cute, but I need the other volumes. My heart does not feel complete yet. So I'm about to go literally place holds on them at the library right at this very moment.
Take me home.
The good news is that I read a whole heck ton during this video and this challenge. The bad news is that I am officially giving up and getting to 24 hours. Since I've last updated, I tried to start that little Christmas story that I had and stopped reading it about a page and a half in because I just was not, like, it just wasn't going to work. So I started reading The Second Life of Mariel West, and I'm just under 100 pages in. It seems like it's gonna be good. It's pretty slow paced. I just haven't sat down and continued with the timer and everything like that. And I also started Undone by Karen Slaughter on audiobook, because that way I could do it while doing other things, because I was like, I'm gonna rack up those hours, I'm gonna make it to 24 hours, and I just don't think it's gonna happen. Like, it's going to happen, but like I just don't think it's going to happen in a video span of time. And there's a readathon that I want to begin tomorrow, so I kind of just want like a clean slate as far as like video goes and the timer goes. And so what a bummer. I did try to do a 24-hour reading challenge on my main channel back in May of this year, so a while ago at this point. I totally flopped that one. I did like 5 hours before I gave up. So I really have improved a lot so far. If you count the audiobook, I'm ending with about 3 hours remaining. So I read 21 hours. Granted, this is over a week because it's Sunday now. So I made it far, even though I was not successful. I guess that just means I'll have to do it again. I'll have to try it again. Whether this is gonna be probably not monthly, maybe like bi-monthly. We'll see how that goes. But very fun first reading vlog on this channel. If you're still watching and you're not subscribed, we're obviously vibing at least a little bit, so go ahead and subscribe, because I have a lot of fun videos coming up that I personally am excited for. So I hope you choose to stick around and join me for them. Overall, I hope you're having a great day today, and I will see you next time.
Take me up, take me straight